What is up, traders? Welcome to the official Trade Talk channel, where I show you how I analyze price for the most consistent and higher probable entries to help you guys become better traders. All right, a lot has happened. We're going to discuss Bitcoin in this video. This is the weekly outlook video for Bitcoin. We will talk about what occurred last week and what we will be looking for next week. So make sure you guys stick around until the end. All right, so first things first, let's discuss what occurred last week. So last week we traded up into the yearly opening range, took out the yearly high, made a fresh yearly high for 2022, and then you traded up here for a little while and then you rejected. We were looking for a few things up here that did suggest that we could potentially see price pull back, one being the liquidation of these two swing highs. If the market gets sold into when all that demand comes in, then price will retreat back below the yearly opening range. If the market is bullish, when you trigger that demand with incoming demand, price should go higher. Since we have retreated, we are going to keep our near-term bearish bias, but in this video, I will tell you both biases to have. There's only two, right? You can be bullish, you can be bearish, and in this video, yeah, you're gonna have that opportunity to choose for yourself. But anyways, since we did pull back up in here, we have dropped. We took out the 21 exponential moving average on a daily closing basis. That also put us back under the 50 on the RSI on a daily closing basis, so our near term is going to be bearish, all right, coming into next week. So anyways, that's what occurred last week. All right. We do have newsprint coming next week in the form of a CPI inflation print. Last month was 7.9%, which was an increase from the previous month at 7.5%. So basically you have month over month rising inflation numbers. So we're looking for an 8.2 to 8.6 print on the CPI to basically just continue with the trend. Keep your eyes out for that. A lot of volatility will be potentially happening on or around the day, so be careful out there for that. And it is coming this week. But anyways, so since you've gotten back underneath that, like I said earlier, we will be looking for bearish continuation, but we are in an area where the bullish scenario can still be valid. All right, but let's go talk about the bearish things. Let's do the bearish things first, and at the end we'll talk about the bullish things. All right, so bear with me as we go over here to the CME chart. All right, guys, here we are on the weekly CME chart. Never mind the gap down there. That is our longer term bearish targets, but never mind that for now. Here's what I want you to see on the weekly CME. The reason I'm bringing this up is because the weekly closed yesterday. The CME chart closed yesterday, and you closed back under the weekly 21 exponential moving average, and you closed back under the 50 on the RSI. All right, but the spot market is still open, and there is still just a little bit of hope left out there that the spot market could close above the 21 and above the 50 on the weekly time frame. But we'll discuss that here in a little bit. Just stick with me first on the bearish scenario. So since we got that closure on the CME below that, we will be looking to sell rips. That is me. When I say we, I mean me. Trade Talk. I will be looking to sell rips. We did take a trade last week at the high of the weekly range up here, and you can see that we are in great profits on that trade. What I will be looking for next week is for a pullback or a retest back up into this candle's low, which is that white line there, and the 21 exponential moving average, and that's where I want to see resistance hold. If that occurs, then we're going to be looking to re-add with new short positions, looking for another impulse leg to the downside. All right, and that's all because of this closure right there. There's old weekly res there. That's your highest weekly resistance level in this sequence of price before this breakout occurred here. Right there, that's where the breakout was. This closing back below this candle basically took off the table of a pullback entry for me. Right? This is all for me, but if you think that you're going to find support down here, I will give you something to look for. All right, just bear with me. So this closure here was very, very crucial. So I will be watching 44,345 next week to potentially act as resistance. And if it does occur and we do start to trade lower, then I will be looking for that range expansion lower. And that's pretty much it on the bearish scenario, other than, month over month rising inflation, other than the war in Europe, other than, all the macro elements out there that support a bearish thesis right now. Without all of that, price action still looks bearish to me, but I'm a near-term trader. All right, so moving on to the spot chart. All right, guys, here we are back on the spot account or the spot price chart. You can see here, that's where we currently are. You are seeing just a slight bit of a pullback today, but what you want to see tomorrow night is you want to see this thing close back above that 50. All right, if you get that close tomorrow, I doubt it happens, but it could. But if you do get that close back above the 50, then this little stab below the 50 is going to be a bear trap. And is it possible to get a bull trap than a bear trap? Absolutely, it is, because price is chaotic and nobody knows what it's going to do. All right, we just take higher probable trades, but we're not always right because we don't know what's going to happen. But we can use technical analysis and probabilities to take those higher probable entries. And right now, the higher probable entry, in my opinion, as long as we close below that 21 exponential moving average tomorrow on the spot market, would be to sell a rip in the next week. But all right, let's go ahead and talk about the bullish side of things. All right, so tomorrow is going to be the 2-week closure, and I keep a lot of weight on the 2-week time frame. With the price action that we have seen in the last, let's go ahead and say from here. All right, so from February 14th, we have been in what I would call a bullish expansion, and I will get into that briefly. The reason for it is because here we took out support to the downside, and then the very next 2-week candle, you took out this candle's high, which supported bullish prices because you basically put in a bull trap on a 2-week time. And then the very next 2-week session candle, you got this massive impulse move to the upside. All right, closing above your 21 exponential moving average. Remember, this is a 2-week time frame. Tomorrow night, this thing closes. Closing back below the 21, however, not going to be so great. But with that being said, your last resistance level was $42,074, and you can see that is where we are currently at right now. That is pretty much the bull's last line in the sand, in my opinion. All right, and that's just using price. It's not using the macro backdrop, just using price action, because what you essentially have here is an impulse leg. Then this candle, this entire candle, this 2-week session has been a corrective phase of this impulse phase. All right, so you have an impulse correction. What you should be seeing, or what you want to see if you're bullish on Bitcoin, is something like that. Next 2-week session, that would be bullish continuation of this overall narrative of this section of price only. All right, not looking at anything else on the chart, just looking at this section of price right here. This is resistance. You also broke above and closed above the 21 exponential moving average. As of right now, looks exceedingly strong. Closing below the 21 exponential moving average won't be so negative as long as you close above this support zone. If you close this candle tomorrow below $42,074 and below the 21, that's going to look more bearish, in my opinion. What needs to occur for the last bullish stance, in my opinion, is for this to hold as support, and you need to see that impulse, and at least by Monday. I would rather see it close back above the weekly 21 tomorrow night, as that would put you back above the 2-week 21 as well. That would look a lot more bullish, and I would seriously consider closing down my short positions if that happens. So we are kind of at, we still have a few days left on this crucial zone for where Bitcoin currently is. Now, another thing that you did on this bull candle is you did close above your resistance level. See there? Just slightly closed above resistance. Then this week you're getting the pullback. And if we go ahead and pull our fib retracement tool from swing low to swing high, you can see that you're just at the 50% retracement. Your 618 retracement of this expansion is still intact. So this is can still, for you bulls out there, be viewed as a pullback only. All right, now with that being said, let's go over here to Glassnode real quick. The next thing I want to show you is this futures open interest. Let me pull up this data right here. So this is the break. This white line is your price action. These orange bars are your open interest. The futures open interest, okay? Futures only, futures contracts, all exchanges, $17 billion worth of open interest. That's a high amount. So we have seen open interest get high like this in other major turning points in the market. So that's why we were kind of getting a little bit concerned once we did get above the yearly open and make a fresh yearly high on a bunch of open leverage positions, whether shorts or longs, guys, doesn't matter. Open interest is extremely high. If Bitcoin keeps continuing lower, you are going to see a lot of long liquidations. You could literally see price just start to rip down rather rapidly if the open interest stays high. Here was where we turned around. This is where we got short here, right here at this peak, right before price turns around. And I want you to look at the last 2 days, the spike in open interest for the last 2 days. Today is the 9th when making this video. This last bar here is April the 8th, and this was April the 7th. So Thursday and Friday, massive spike in open interest. Now, this could suggest that you are getting accumulation. People are buying the dip, but it could also suggest that people are loading up on shorts. So what we can do is we can go look at short side liquidations. So here is your short side liquidations. Naturally, you get your spike in short liquidations as price trades up. Price is the white line. The orange line is your liquidation spike. Over here again, once price made this move here, boom, big spike in liquidations there. And then as price rolled over the last week, there was really no short liquidations at all. This small spike right there. And then let's pull up futures long liquidations. So here are your futures long liquidations that naturally are occurring when price moves lower. That's going to liquidate your longs. Here's your first real spike of that occurring. Wow, look at this long liquidation spike on just a very small move. You guys need to stop buying tops. You just do. You gotta stop doing that, because not only the spike happened at the low, that's when all the longs got liquidated, right at the low, and then price traded away. You got to stop doing that, guys. And in here, another scenario, longs getting liquidated here. Now, the reason longs are getting liquidated right here on this spike is because people got long, right? People were buying this move lower from this point to this point. Inside of that day, this is the day that has the 21 exponential moving average right through the middle of it. So that's where people were stacking up their buy orders. This is why you got such a massive long liquidation spike, because as price traded through the 21 and lower and had sell side continuation, those longs got liquidated. So right now, naturally, since price is moving down, you are seeing those longs get liquidated. And that's going to keep occurring as long as Bitcoin keeps going down, because people are looking to be buyers of this market because they think that the bull market is still intact. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you've came off 45%. That does not indicate a bullish market ever. All right, finally, this is just another bear case. It's just something that, just in case you guys are new or you haven't been around my channel very long, we're looking to be buyers on Bitcoin when the CME gap at 26K gets filled. That would be like a capitulation move lower, that final stab lower. That would also put you down here or really close to being in this green section down here. And you can see, like, almost every single time in Bitcoin's history, if we stretch it out here to all, basically every time you've come into that green zone, that's where you've wanted to been a buyer on Bitcoin for its entire history. That's what this indicator has said. So right now we are looking, this is price action here. We're looking for this thing to stab lower, put in that capitulation event down into here. Now, we're not going to be buyers as soon as it touches the green line. We will be patient because it could take several days to a couple weeks. See down here, last time you had a bear market phase, it took weeks and weeks and weeks to get back out of the green. But once you got out of the green, then, you know, that would have been a good spot to be a buyer, as that's been pretty much indicative of price moving higher. So we're kind of waiting for that stab lower, that capitulation event down at this green's bottom area. That's where we're going to say that we're probably seeing the low end of the market. That is if the bear market continues to play out. All right, but as of right now, back over here to price, you know, it does look like the bulls do have one final thing here on a technical basis that could say, hey, the bull side or this pop that you've seen in the last couple weeks could actually be continuing. So you definitely want to watch the close tomorrow, 2-week closure, all that's going to be there. But as long as we close underneath the 221 and all that stuff, like I said, if we close more bearish, I will be looking to sell rallies. But if we close back above that 21, I will be thinking about closing down my short position and potentially looking to get long for that potential rally. So hopefully this video helps you guys. If it did, make sure you smash that like button. Also, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that would be fantastic, as I do have a goal and I am trying to reach, and that is 10K subs. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you guys trade safe, make sure you trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.